Have you ever deeply considered why the things you pursue so fervently, happiness, success, love, peace, often seem perpetually out of reach? You chase tirelessly, driven by the belief that true fulfillment is always waiting somewhere ahead, beyond your grasp, in the next milestone or the next moment. Yet paradoxically, the harder you strive, the further away your desires seem to move. Happiness arrives momentarily, then quickly vanishes, leaving emptiness behind. Success creates more anxieties and expectations rather than relief. Love feels conditional, fleeting, uncertain. Peace becomes fragile, easily disrupted by the slightest breeze of circumstance. Have you ever paused to ask yourself why this happens? We live under a profound illusion, an illusion so subtle, so deeply ingrained that we rarely question its truth. We have been taught from childhood that life is something to be conquered, a game to be won. We're conditioned to believe that happiness and fulfillment lie beyond us, waiting to be claimed, achieved, possessed. Society whispers that unless we're moving forward, pushing harder, and chasing relentlessly, we are somehow failing, falling behind, not living fully. And thus, our entire existence transforms into an endless race, a relentless pursuit of something we can't quite name or hold. Yet, hidden within this endless chase lies a spiritual truth many spend their entire lives never seeing clearly. The great mystics have always whispered it softly: fulfillment cannot be pursued, because in the very act of pursuing it, you create a gap between yourself and the object of your desire. Eckhart Tolle, the revered spiritual teacher, calls this the illusion of more. He explains that we continuously chase because we believe deeply in the myth that something outside of ourselves will finally complete us, that somewhere in the future, true peace awaits. But the peace we long for is not waiting for us somewhere else. It's hidden in plain sight, obscured by our frantic pursuit. Think about it carefully. Whenever you chase something, be it love, success, or happiness, you implicitly communicate to yourself, "I'm incomplete. I need something external to finally be enough." In doing so, you create a permanent state of dissatisfaction, a spiritual hunger that can never truly be fed. The more you chase, the more you reinforce your feeling of incompleteness. It's as if you're attempting to grasp your reflection in moving water. The more aggressively you reach, the more distorted and elusive the reflection becomes. Let me share with you an ancient parable that illuminates this truth profoundly. There was once a wise elder named Amir, known throughout his land for his deep calmness and seemingly unshakable inner peace. Travelers came from afar to ask for his guidance, astonished by how effortlessly serene he appeared amidst life's inevitable storms. One day, a young woman named Leela approached Amir, desperate and exhausted from years of chasing dreams and ambitions that always seemed to slip through her fingers. "Why?" she asked, her voice trembling. "No matter how hard I chase after happiness and success, do they always seem to escape me?" Amir looked at her warmly and gently replied, "Let me show you something." He led Leela to the nearby hills, where wild horses roamed freely. Amir pointed at the horses and said, "These beautiful creatures represent all the things you chase in life. Love, success, happiness. Go now and catch one." Leela, full of determination, approached the horses swiftly, trying to catch one. But the harder she chased, the faster the horses fled, eluding her grasp effortlessly. Exhausted and frustrated, she returned to Amir, tears in her eyes. "I cannot catch them," she confessed sadly. Amir smiled softly and said, "Now, sit here with me quietly. Let go of your need to chase. Just be still, be open, and observe." Reluctantly, Leela sat beside Amir. They became silent, breathing slowly, absorbed in the peaceful beauty of the hillside. Gradually, something remarkable happened. The horses, sensing no threat, became curious. They moved closer and closer, until one gently approached Leela, softly nudging her shoulder. Surprised and overwhelmed with joy, she turned to Amir, eyes wide in amazement. Amir whispered gently, "Do you see now? What you chase runs away, but when you stop chasing and become still, open, and receptive, it naturally comes to you." This story mirrors the profound spiritual truth within our own lives. What we chase flees from us precisely because chasing itself is a form of desperation, a subtle yet powerful vibration of lack. When we finally surrender our chase, when we let go of our relentless pursuit and become still and receptive, life begins flowing toward us naturally. love, success, peace. They recognize the stillness and authenticity within us, drawn irresistibly toward genuine openness rather than forced grasping. The Buddha said, "There is no path to happiness. Happiness itself is the path." Happiness, peace, fulfillment. These are not distant goals waiting in the future. They are states of being that can only be realized in the present moment. Yet our restless mind continuously pushes these truths away, believing fulfillment must always exist elsewhere. The invitation here is profoundly simple, yet spiritually transformative. Stop chasing shadows. Let go of your restless pursuit. Pause deeply and realize this clearly. The moment you truly cease chasing, what you seek will finally have the chance to find you. Consider for a moment the graceful dance of nature. Have you ever quietly observed how effortlessly flowers bloom, unfolding their petals to the morning sun without anxiety or hesitation? Have you watched how rivers flow, calmly winding their paths around obstacles, not fighting against the rocks and earth, but embracing them gently, patiently shaping their own course? Or how about the changing of the seasons, each arriving and departing smoothly, naturally, never resisting or clinging, each playing their role in perfect harmony with the greater rhythm of existence? Nature doesn't chase outcomes. It doesn't rush to achieve, nor does it force itself into being. It simply is, perfectly aligned with the universal laws that govern its existence. Each moment, each transformation happens naturally, arising precisely when the conditions are right, and not a moment sooner. This effortless harmony carries a silent teaching, whispered to us softly through every leaf, river, and cloud. True power lies not in pushing and forcing, but in flowing and allowing. The spiritual teacher Mooji once beautifully expressed this wisdom when he said, "True clarity arises not by effort, but by relaxation, by letting go of striving and becoming the quiet observer of life." At first glance, this might seem counterintuitive in a world that demands constant action and relentless ambition. But reflect deeply for a moment. Has your effortful striving ever truly brought lasting clarity or peace? Or has it instead deepened your confusion, anxiety, and sense of separation? Consider the art of archery as practiced by Zen masters of old. There is a profound spiritual tradition in Japan known as Kyudo, the way of the bow. Unlike modern archery, which emphasizes force, aim, and accuracy, Kyudo focuses on inner stillness, presence, and harmony. The Zen archer doesn't chase the target with his eyes, nor does he rigidly control the arrow's flight with tension or force. Instead, he stands rooted in absolute stillness, breathing deeply, aligned with the bow, the arrow, and even the target itself, becoming one with the entire process. He does not shoot the arrow. Rather, in a moment of perfect alignment and surrender, the arrow releases itself. When asked how he consistently hits the target without visibly aiming, a Zen master once replied softly, "The target and I are not two separate entities. There is no I to aim, no arrow to shoot, no target to hit, only one harmonious movement." When you truly understand this unity, aiming and hitting become meaningless distinctions. This profound philosophy extends far beyond archery. Imagine for a moment applying this wisdom to your own life, to your ambitions, dreams, and daily actions. Instead of chasing after what you desire, desperately struggling to control every outcome, what if you embodied the Zen archer's stillness? What if you allowed yourself to become fully present, becoming a quiet observer of your own life's unfolding? To simply witness your desires without being consumed by them, to experience your emotions fully without becoming enslaved to them, and to notice opportunities as they arise naturally, without forcing or grasping. There is a subtle yet powerful shift that occurs when you adopt this quiet posture of observation. You start to realize that you are not separate from life, not an isolated, anxious entity, desperately striving for fulfillment outside yourself, but rather you are life itself, experiencing its own magnificent unfolding. Suddenly, you're no longer fighting against the current. You become the river, flowing effortlessly toward your destination, shaping your path naturally, intuitively, beautifully. Let me share with you the story of Eliana, a gifted artist who spent years struggling, trying relentlessly to create the perfect masterpiece. Every canvas she approached became a battleground, each stroke filled with tension, fear, and self-doubt. She chased desperately after perfection, terrified of mistakes, terrified of criticism, terrified of never achieving her dreams. Her art suffered, and her spirit felt exhausted. After years of this relentless pursuit, one evening, overwhelmed and depleted, she put down her brushes and sat quietly before her blank canvas. For the first time, she didn't attempt to force her vision onto the canvas. Instead, she simply sat, observing, breathing deeply, surrendering to the silence of the moment. And then, something extraordinary happened. As Eliana observed quietly, without expectation, without desperation, her heart filled with a clarity she'd never experienced. Her hand moved gently, guided not by force but by something deeper, a silent, intuitive wisdom. Each stroke felt effortless, perfectly timed, harmonious. What emerged was not only the most beautiful piece she'd ever created, but also the profound realization that true creativity, true clarity, arises precisely when striving ceases, when surrender begins. Your life too can become this masterpiece. The more gently you hold your desires, the more clearly they reveal themselves to you. The more quietly you observe your emotions, the less they control you. When you release the urgent need to chase and control outcomes, your inner clarity naturally guides you toward decisions, people, and experiences that align perfectly with your deepest truth. Remember always this paradoxical, yet liberating truth. What you chase moves away, but what you calmly observe and accept flows toward you effortlessly. Just as flowers bloom without anxiety, rivers flow without force, and the Zen archer becomes one with the target, your life too will unfold gracefully, naturally, beautifully, the moment you release control and embrace the profound wisdom of becoming the quiet observer. In that stillness, you discover the greatest secret of existence. You don't have to chase what is already seeking you. All you need to do is become quiet enough, present enough, and still enough to receive it. Sadhguru beautifully tells us, life isn't something you achieve, it's something you become receptive to. But receptivity is born only in surrender. Yet surrender is terrifying, isn't it? Surrendering feels as though you're giving up control, and losing control feels synonymous with defeat, weakness, or helplessness, because this is exactly what society has taught us. We've been conditioned to grip life so tightly that our knuckles turn white, terrified that if we release control, we'll spiral into chaos or irrelevance. But what if this narrative is fundamentally flawed? The spiritual truth, often whispered by enlightened beings through centuries, is that true strength emerges precisely from the act of surrender. To surrender is not passive, it's profoundly courageous. It's the willingness to step beyond your comfort zone, to abandon the safety net of certainty, and to place yourself fully into the arms of the unknown, trusting life itself to carry you. It's a leap of faith not into emptiness, but into fullness, the fullness of possibility, intuition, and divine guidance. Consider a bird perched upon the edge of a nest, high above a dense forest. It stands at the threshold of the unknown, looking down at a world it has never experienced, uncertain whether it can trust the invisible force beneath its wings. But the bird doesn't wait for absolute certainty. It trusts in something deeper, more instinctive, more profound. When the bird finally spreads its wings and lets go, surrendering completely, it discovers flight. It doesn't control the wind, yet the wind carries it effortlessly, powerfully, gracefully through the sky. In that moment, the bird becomes one with the vastness of the air, not because it controlled its environment, but precisely because it surrendered to it. Your life too carries within it this wisdom. When you release your grip on outcomes, when you stop insisting on how things must unfold, you create space for life's abundant gifts to enter. Imagine water flowing gently through rocks, finding its own path naturally, without struggle. Water does not resist obstacles. It embraces them, adapts to them, uses them to guide itself forward. Opportunities in your life operate the same way. When you surrender your expectations, life itself gently guides you, illuminating paths you never even knew existed. Love finds you effortlessly when you cease clinging out of fear. Inner peace arises spontaneously when perfection ceases to be your desperate goal. The great poet Rumi once shared a powerful insight. Try something different. Surrender. He knew deeply that your soul's greatest fulfillment emerges not from force, but from trust. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, knows precisely what you need and when you need it. When you finally release control, you align yourself with life's natural rhythm, allowing the universe to gently provide exactly what your heart and spirit require. Imagine life as a majestic, infinitely powerful river, continuously flowing forward. Every experience, every person, every moment, each one a current carrying you toward the realization of your highest potential. Yet most of us spend our lives resisting this powerful current, swimming desperately against it, exhausting ourselves without ever truly progressing. Have you felt this exhaustion? This spiritual fatigue that arises not from doing too little, but from doing too much, fighting the natural flow, forcing outcomes, insisting life unfold according to your rigid timeline. But what if instead you allowed yourself to trust deeply, to surrender to the wisdom of the river, and to simply float? What if you discovered that life is not happening to you, but for you, guiding you gently and perfectly toward exactly where you're meant to be? Trust is the essence of spiritual maturity. It is the profound recognition that every moment of your life, even the challenging ones, contains a hidden intelligence, a secret purpose. It is knowing deeply that your dreams, your desires, and your deepest needs will manifest precisely when you're ready to receive them. Life's timing is flawless, divine, aligned exactly with your soul's journey. Forcing, chasing, and rushing only disrupts this natural alignment, creating turbulence rather than progress. There is a timeless Zen parable of an old farmer whose horse ran away. The neighbors lamented, "Such misfortune," but the farmer simply replied, "Perhaps." Soon after, the horse returned with many wild horses. The neighbors rejoiced, saying, "What luck!" Again, the farmer calmly responded, "Perhaps." Then, while training the horses, his son broke his leg. The neighbors expressed sympathy. "Such tragedy." Yet the farmer quietly said, "Perhaps." Soon after, war broke out, and all able-bodied young men were drafted, except for the farmer's injured son. Again, neighbors declared it a blessing, but the farmer maintained, "Perhaps." The farmer understood the deeper spiritual truth of trusting life's flow. Events we judge as good or bad are merely currents in the greater river, guiding us to places we cannot yet see. Trusting life means trusting beyond immediate appearances, understanding deeply that the river is always carrying you exactly where you need to go. When you align yourself fully with the flow, releasing resistance, the things you've sought endlessly begin to find their way naturally, inevitably toward you. Finally, let yourself pause deeply, breathe slowly, and ask yourself this profoundly honest question: am I ready to stop chasing? Within your answer lies not just freedom, but the key to your very existence. The life you crave so deeply, the unconditional love, authentic joy, meaningful success, profound peace, is not hidden somewhere far away, waiting to be discovered in some distant future. It has never been external. It has never been something you had to earn, pursue, or desperately fight for. It exists here, right now, waiting patiently within your capacity to become truly present, to become deeply still, to fully recognize it. Picture once again the serene reflection of the moon upon a tranquil lake, untouched by wind. The moon's image floats there effortlessly, clear and peaceful. Now imagine your restless hand reaching anxiously, desperately trying to grasp this reflection. The water ripples instantly, the image breaks apart, and what you desired so deeply disappears. But if you simply stop, if you become still again, the moon gently reappears, peaceful and undisturbed. The truth of your life is captured beautifully within this image. The love, the joy, the peace you've been chasing vanish the instant you try to grasp them, yet return quietly and gracefully the moment you stop and simply allow them to be. Remember, always remember, you do not attract what you desperately desire. You attract precisely what you embody deep within your being. When you shift your inner state from anxiety, desperation, and endless searching to one of openness, trust, and deep stillness, the external world transforms in harmony with this internal truth. You become a magnetic force, silently calling into your experience exactly what your heart and soul need, not through force or striving, but through the quiet power of your own authenticity. Life's greatest treasures, unconditional love, profound joy, genuine success, lasting peace, aren't trophies to win or possessions to capture. They are sacred states of being, waiting patiently for your recognition, hidden quietly within the depths of your own heart. Life whispers softly, lovingly, continuously, hoping you'll finally hear it clearly. When you stop chasing, it starts coming to you. But pause now and let this deeper realization sink into every fiber of your being. One day, perhaps when your hair has turned grey and time has carved gentle lines into your face, you'll look back over the vast landscape of your life. In that reflective moment, you won't measure your worth by the things you desperately chased or the goals you feverishly pursued. Instead, you'll remember the quiet moments when you surrendered to life's flow, when you allowed yourself simply to be, to love, to breathe, to experience. You'll understand clearly then, perhaps for the first time, that the life you've always dreamed of wasn't something to chase after. It was something waiting patiently, silently within you, longing for you to slow down enough to see it, to feel it, to become one with it. So ask yourself once more, gently yet courageously, as if your very life depends upon your answer, because, in a profound way, it does. Are you ready to stop chasing and finally start receiving? The moment your heart whispers yes, genuinely, fully, unconditionally, everything, absolutely everything begins to change. And from that sacred moment forward, your life becomes exactly what it was always meant to be. Not a chase, but a beautiful, effortless unfolding.